The sun was red and angry above the ruined world. Dust blew across the dead plains like ghosts looking for someone to haunt. Buildings stood broken, and burned machines lay scattered like old bones. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. Except her. A little alien girl sat alone on the dry ground, her knees pulled close to her chest. Her skin was soft and pale blue, almost silver. Her long dark hair was tangled and full of sand. Her eyes, big, glowing and full of tears, looked around the empty land with fear. Her name was Kiri. She had not eaten in 2 days. Her lips were dry and her tiny hands were shaking. She wore a torn white dress, dirty and half-burned from the blast that destroyed her village. Everyone was gone, her people had run. Her father had told her, "Ari, stay here, I will come back." But he never came back. Kiri whispered, "Papa?" The only answer was the wind. She tried to stand up, but her legs were too weak. She fell to her knees again and began to cry. Not loud, just soft weeping, as if she didn't want the wind to hear her pain. From far away, footsteps echoed in the dust. Kiri looked up. Her heart raced. Was it a soldier, a slaver, another monster? She had seen what they did to the others. Her small body shook. But the figure that appeared was strange. A woman, a human, wearing old battle armor with scratches and bullet marks. Her long coat moved with the wind and her boots left deep prints in the sand. She had short black hair, dark brown eyes, and a calm but serious face. A plasma rifle hung on her back, but her hands were empty. She stopped when she saw the girl. They stared at each other. The little alien girl did not speak. She was ready to run, but her legs wouldn't move. The woman stepped closer, slow and careful. "Hey, it's all right," she said softly. Her voice was not cold like the others. It had a tired kindness, a deep strength. Kiri tried to move back, but her arms gave up. The woman knelt in front of her, pulling out a metal bottle. "You look thirsty." Kiri looked at the bottle, unsure. Her kind had never trusted humans. They always brought war or death. The woman opened the cap and poured some water into her hand to show it was safe. Then she held it out again. Kiri reached forward, slowly. Her small fingers touched the human's rough hand as she took the bottle, and drank. It was the sweetest water she had ever tasted. "What's your name?" the woman asked. Kiri didn't answer. She just looked at the sand. The woman didn't push her. She simply sat beside her. They both stared into the distance, where fire still burned across the horizon. After a moment, Kiri whispered, "Kiri." The woman smiled faintly. "I'm Elena." Another silence passed. Elena stood up and looked around. "No one else coming for you?" Kiri shook her head. "Papa said he'd come back." Elena's face tightened. She had seen this too many times before. Too many broken families, too many lies told by desperate parents. "Well," Elena said, lifting Kiri gently in her arms. "Until he does, you stay with me." Kiri was too tired to resist. Her head rested against the woman's shoulder. For the first time in days, she felt warm arms around her. Safe. As Elena walked through the dead town, people from a nearby camp stared. Some pointed, some laughed. "Another alien brat?" a traitor said. "Not worth a credit," shouted another. "She's gonna slow you down, human." Elena didn't answer. She walked past them all like they didn't exist. Kiri peeked up and whispered, "You're not going to leave me, right?" Elena stopped. She looked into the little girl's glowing eyes. "Not a chance," she said. At that moment, above them, a silent drone recorded their image. Far away in the dark room of a space station, a screen lit up with Kiri's face. A deep voice spoke. "We found her. Prepare to retrieve the target." Back on the planet, the human woman and the little alien girl disappeared into the dust, unaware that eyes were watching and danger was coming. The storm came quickly. Wind howled like a wild beast across the wasteland, throwing sharp dust and ash into the sky. The air turned orange. Buildings vanished behind the wall of sand. It felt like the world itself wanted to disappear. Elena pulled her coat tighter around Kiri. shielding the small alien girl as she walked through the half-buried ruins. Her boots crunched over broken glass and rusted metal. She kept one hand on the rifle across her back, but the other stayed firmly on Kiri's shoulder. The child followed quietly. Her small legs were tired, but she didn't complain. She didn't cry anymore either. She just held onto Elena's coat, afraid to let go. "Storm's picking up," Elena muttered. "We need shelter." They reached an old checkpoint station, half broken, half buried in sand. A warning sign in 3 languages hung from a twisted post. "Biohazard zone, no entry." Elena kicked the door in. Inside was dark and silent. The air smelled of old chemicals and heat damage. Elena scanned the room, found a corner with old crates, and quickly set down her pack. She wrapped Kiri in a thermal blanket, gave her more water, then sat beside her. Kiri watched her with wide, glowing eyes. "Is this your home now?" she asked softly. Elena looked at the broken walls around them and chuckled once. "Not even close. But for tonight, it's safe." Kiri sat in silence for a long time. Then in a tiny voice she asked, "Why did you help me?" Elena didn't answer right away. She pulled out a small metal pendant from under her shirt. It was old, scorched, cracked and dented, but still shined when the light touched it. "My daughter had eyes like yours," she finally said. Kiri blinked. "Where is she?" "Gone. Years ago." Kiri lowered her head. "I'm sorry." Elena stood up and walked to the broken window. "Don't be. Just stay alive. That's enough." Suddenly, click. A small alert buzzed on her wrist pad. Proximity warning. She grabbed her rifle, ducked low, and pressed her back to the wall. Outside, through the dust, red lights moved. Silent shadows drifted past the checkpoint. Drones. Hunters. Not human. Not kind. Elena whispered, "They found us already." Kiri clutched the blanket tighter. "Who are they?" "People who want you for something, and they'll kill anyone to get it." Kiri was too scared to speak. Elena scanned the screen on her wrist. The signal wasn't local, it was a bounty signal. Someone had placed a contract on the girl. Elena didn't know why, but she'd seen enough to know how these things worked. "A lot of people are looking for you, little star," she whispered. A loud bang echoed from outside, metal hitting metal, then footsteps. They were closing in. Elena grabbed Kiri and moved silently to a side hallway. There was a vent. Small, tight, but big enough for a child. "You crawl through here. Keep going until you see daylight." Kiri shook her head. "No, not without you." Elena looked her straight in the eyes. "I'll find another way out. I promise." Kiri hesitated, tears filling her eyes again, but this time not from fear. From trust, and from pain she didn't know how to explain. "Will you come back for me?" she asked. Elena nodded. Every time. Kiri crawled into the vent. Elena turned around, rifle raised, just as the door blew open. 3 armored men stormed in, weapons drawn. One of them spotted the girl's blanket and growled, "She was here." Elena didn't wait. She fired first. The room filled with smoke, sparks, and the sound of gunfire. Elena ducked, rolled, and took down 2 of the hunters before diving behind cover. Her armor took a shot to the shoulder, but she stayed on her feet. "You're not taking her," she shouted. The last bounty hunter charged her with a plasma knife, but, before he reached her, a blast from behind struck him down. A smuggler had appeared in the door, lowering his smoking pistol. "You owe me, Elena. Just shut up and help me move," she growled. Later that night, under the remains of a broken dome, Elena found Kiri hiding in an abandoned cargo bay. The girl ran into her arms without saying a word, just held on, tightly. Elena picked her up and whispered, "Told you I'd come back." Far above, in a station orbiting the planet, a tall figure watched the screen and smiled darkly. "The human is protecting the asset," he said. "Send the others. The girl must be retrieved, alive." The stars above the ruined city flickered like dying candles. The night was cold, too cold for life. But deep underground, where the wind could not reach, Elena and Kiri moved through the tunnels like ghosts. Their footsteps were silent. Their breath short. This wasn't hiding anymore. This was running for survival. Elena had heard the whispers in the refugee market. There's a price on the girl. Not for her life, but what's inside her. She didn't know the full truth yet. But she knew something dangerous was chasing them. And it would never stop. The old metro tunnels were cracked and dark. Rusted rails stretched out like skeleton. Bones. Elena's flashlight barely lit the way, and every sound echoed like a scream. Kiri walked close behind her, holding onto Elena's coat again. The little girl didn't cry now. She was learning, growing. Her glowing eyes scanned the darkness with silent fear. "Elena," she whispered. "Why do they want me?" The woman stopped, turned slowly. "I don't know yet," Elena said honestly, "but I know what I see." "What do you see?" "A brave little girl. And a secret. Big enough to make monsters afraid." Kiri didn't understand, but she nodded. They kept walking. Suddenly, a sharp beep on Elena's wrist pad. Motion sensors. 2 life forms, fast. Elena pushed Kiri behind a pillar and raised her rifle. A figure ran through the shadows, then another, but they were not soldiers. Not bounty hunters, just 2 desperate refugees, thin, weak, running from the same fear. Elena lowered her weapon and the refugees vanished into the dark. No time to help them. Kiri whispered, "Everyone's scared." Elena replied, "Because they know something terrible is coming." They reached an old camp hidden under the city, a place where no laws lived, only silence and shadows. A female alien doctor named Runa, with silver skin and a missing eye, allowed them inside. Only for the night. She warned Elena, "You bring trouble. I can smell it." Elena nodded. "I just need to check something." She gave Kiri food and a blanket, then went to the corner of the camp where a hacked data terminal blinked slowly. Elena entered the bounty network. Target, alien child, female, approx age 6, name Kiri, reward 50,000 credits, alive only. Details classified. Location, confirmed on planet. Sector 9. Elena's heart sank. Someone had broadcast this bounty to every corner of the galaxy. This wasn't about money. This was a hunt. Behind her, Kiri stared at a flickering screen showing photos of old faces. Her eyes locked on one, her father. She ran to Elena, holding the photo. "That's him, my papa." Elena's breath caught. The photo was from a mission 12 years ago. A team of scientists visiting a dangerous moon, but beside Kiri's father was Elena herself. Her voice dropped. "I was there." Flashbacks rushed in. An alien man with kind eyes, a baby wrapped in cloth, a broken shuttle. A promise. Elena whispered, "He was the only alien who trusted me. He saved my life, and I promised to protect his family." She knelt in front of Kiri. "Your father didn't just vanish. He gave you something. Something they all want." Kiri blinked. "What did he give me?" Elena didn't know. Not yet. Just then, boom! A blast shook the walls. "Drop!" Elena shouted, grabbing Kiri. The camp was under attack. Mercenaries in dark suits stormed the tunnels, shooting everything that moved. Runa screamed. Refugees ran. Elena fired back, covering Kiri with her body. One merc charged with a stun blade, but Elena shot him straight in the visor. "We need to go," she shouted. Kiri pointed. "That way. There's a door." They ran through smoke and fire, dodging shots and climbing over broken crates. Behind them, the merc leader shouted into a comms unit. "The asset is moving. She's still active." Outside the camp, in the cold air of the surface, Elena and Kiri stumbled into a burnt-out vehicle yard. Wreckage everywhere. No engines worked. Elena collapsed. Behind an old crawler, her arm was bleeding. Her pulse was racing. Kiri wrapped her small arms around her. "You're hurt." Elena forced a smile. "I've had worse." Suddenly, Elena's wrist pad buzzed again. A hidden message, encrypted, very old, from Kiri's father. She read it out loud. "If I'm gone, and she finds you, protect her. She carries the cure. For us, for all of us." Elena's eyes widened. Kiri wasn't just a child. She was the key to saving an entire race. Kiri didn't know why the stars had become so quiet. As Elena drove the stolen desert rover through the endless ash-covered plains, the little alien girl sat beside her, silent, staring up at the pale blue sky. It looked peaceful. But Kiri had learned that peaceful skies often hid hunting eyes. The wheels of the rover crunched over cracked earth. The wind screamed behind them, chasing every whisper, every secret. Inside the cockpit, Elena's mind raced. That message. She carries the cure. A secret left by Kiri's father, hidden in the child's blood. Not a medicine, not a weapon, something deeper. Something more important. A genetic key. "Kiri," Elena said carefully, eyes still on the road. "Did your father ever say why people might want to hurt you?" Kiri shook her head. "He just said, I was special, that I must reach someone, a protector." Elena sighed. "He meant me." She parked the rover near a canyon edge beneath the jagged remains of a fallen skyport tower. The tower had crashed years ago in a war. Now it was just metal bones lying in the sand. But Elena knew what lay beneath it. An old bunker. Hidden. Forgotten. Inside, the air was still. Cold. Elena lit a plasma lamp and guided Kiri down an old stairwell. At the end, they found a locked door. Elena used her wrist pad. Click. The door opened. Rows of ancient tech blinked to life. Screens, scanners, cryopods, and at the center, an auto-medical station. "Kiri," Elena whispered, "we need to scan you just to understand what's inside you." The girl hesitated. "Will it hurt?" "No. I'll be right here." Kiri nodded. She stepped onto the scanner bed. Blue light ran over her body. The machine beeped, processing. Her DNA, then. The results came on screen. Elena's heart stopped. Inside Kiri's blood was a perfect chain of alien and human genetic code, fully balanced, designed, not natural. The program showed a symbol. Unity gene. Project Starroot. Elena sat back, stunned. "I've seen this before," she whispered. 12 years ago. We were trying to create a cure for a disease spreading through alien colonies. Every test failed." Kiri looked confused. "What does that mean?" Elena turned to her. "It means your father wasn't just a scientist. He was the final test. He used himself. And your mother. And he gave you the cure. You're living proof." Kiri blinked. "I can help people?" "You can save them." Outside above the canyon, a scout drone hovered silently. It blinked. It zoomed. It sent a signal. Far away, in a black ship orbiting the planet, a masked commander turned to his crew. "We have confirmation. The girl's DNA is active. Prepare the extraction team." They didn't want to ask Kiri for her gift. They wanted to take it. Back in the bunker, Elena paced the floor. If they get to her, they'll take her apart. Use her blood. Break her open. Kiri clutched her hand. "Will you protect me?" Elena looked down at the child. That fragile, glowing-eyed, dust-covered little girl who had wept in silence. That girl was now the hope of a species, and she had no one but her. "Always," Elena whispered. "Even if I die doing it." Suddenly, the bunker lights flickered. Warning alarm flashed. They were coming. Elena pulled out a data chip and copied Kiri's scan to it. Then she pulled her rifle from her back and loaded it without blinking. She looked at Kiri. Time to move. They exited through the rear tunnel of the bunker, emerging into the canyon maze below. Behind them, ships landed. Black armored mercenaries stormed the bunker with weapons drawn, but Kiri and Elena were already gone. As they ran through the maze of sharp stone, Kiri whispered, "You said I carry a cure, but I don't feel strong." Elena smiled gently. "Strength isn't how you feel. It's what you choose to do when you're scared." Kiri looked at her, her eyes wide. For the first time, she felt brave. Behind them, enemy voices echoed. "Find the child. She must not leave this world." Elena gritted her teeth. "Then let's prove them wrong." They disappeared into the canyon wind, one human and one alien girl, running not just for their lives but for every life in the galaxy. The flames rose behind them like the claws of a dying sun. The canyon trembled with the roar of engines and the shriek of weapons. A dark ship hovered above, its black wings cutting through the air like a predator circling prey. Elena and Kiri ran through the winding paths below, dust, rock, and broken metal beneath their feet. Elena's coat was torn, her rifle was nearly empty, but her grip on Kiri's hand never loosened. Not even once. "Don't stop," Elena said through gritted teeth. "I won't," Kiri whispered back, her tiny feet stumbling but still moving. The girl didn't cry. Not anymore. She had seen fire. She had seen death. And still she ran. Up ahead, an old service bridge crossed the canyon gap. It was half collapsed, barely holding itself together. Below it, a pit of smoke and flame. Elena stared at it for 1 second, then looked down at the girl. "We have to cross it." Kiri looked at the shattered beams and bent steel. Her voice trembled. "I'm scared." Elena crouched down to her level. "Good. That means you're alive, but we don't stop just because we're scared." She took Kiri's hand again, and together, they crossed. Each step groaned under their weight. Sparks flew, the wind pushed. Above them, enemy ships roared closer. Shadows danced across the rocks. Then, a voice called out from the other side. "Elena, a man stepped forward from the rocks, tall, armored, face hidden behind a helmet. Elena froze. "Doran." He removed his helmet, rough face, gray eyes, a scar across his chin. He had once been her ally, a soldier in the war. A man she trusted. He looked at Kiri, and suddenly Elena knew. "You took the bounty." Doran didn't deny it. "You don't understand what she is," he said. "They'll kill millions if they don't get her. I'm doing this to stop a war." "She is the cure," Elena growled. "You'd sell her to monsters." Doran sighed. "Don't make me do this." Elena raised her rifle. "You already did." The bridge collapsed. Explosions from above sent down shockwaves. One beam snapped. Elena grabbed Kiri and leapt just in time, hitting the other side as the bridge crumbled behind them. Doran shouted something, but the canyon was now fire and dust. Elena rolled, shielding Kiri as metal rained down. Then silence, only the girls, breathing, quick, shallow, but alive. Elena stood, her shoulder bleeding again, her eyes locked on the path ahead. "There's a smuggler port nearby," she said. "Old contact. He owes me." Kiri nodded. "Let's go." Hours passed. They reached the outskirts of an abandoned cargo yard. Old ship sat rotting in the sun. Nothing moved. Nothing breathed. Elena knocked on the hull of a rusted shuttle. A small hatch opened. Inside, a man with glowing cybernetic eyes and gold teeth grinned. "Elena, I thought you were dead. I need off-world transport. Quiet. Fast." He eyed Kiri. "She the reason half the bounty board is on fire?" "She's the reason your people might live." The smuggler laughed. "You always find trouble." He let them in. The ship was small, dirty, but it would fly. Kiri sat in the back seat, hugging her knees. Her voice was soft. "Do you think Doran will follow us?" Elena checked the scanners. "Yes." "Will he hurt you?" "Maybe." Kiri was quiet for a moment. Then, "I don't want you to get hurt because of me." Elena looked at her, and, for the first time, she knelt, took the girl's hands. "Kiri, listen to me. You didn't ask to be born special. You didn't ask to be hunted. But you are, and that makes you someone worth protecting, not just because of what's inside you, but because of who you are. Kiri's eyes filled with tears, but they didn't fall. She nodded. Then the smuggler called out, "We've got company." Outside, the port Doran's forces landed, mechs, soldiers, search drones. Elena ran to the cockpit. "Launch now." Engines flared. The ship shook as it lifted off. Doran's voice came through the radio. "Elena, last chance. Hand over the girl." Elena grabbed the mic. "Come and take her." Then she cut the line. Kiri watched from the window as the planet shrank behind them. Ash, fire, dust, but also stars, endless waiting stars, and far away on a peaceful alien world dying from disease, people would one day wake up again because a human woman did not let go. The stars outside the ship were quiet, too quiet. Elena sat in the cockpit, her hand resting on the controls, but her eyes were fixed on the small sleeping figure wrapped in a blanket beside her. Kiri. Even in sleep, the little alien girl held her knees close to her chest, like she feared the stars might reach in and steal her away. Elena didn't sleep. Couldn't. Not when she knew what was coming. The enemy wasn't chasing them anymore. They were waiting. The stolen ship entered orbit around a frozen moon, neutral ground, an old peace station once used for prisoner exchange during the Terran-Zarvi War. Elena had sent a signal, a message of truth, to both humans and aliens. The child is the cure. You want war, I want peace. Meet me face to face or watch everything die. She knew it was a trap. She sent it anyway, because sometimes peace is worth walking into fire for. The station lights flickered as Elena walked down the long, cold hallway. Her armor was scarred. Her steps were slow, but her eyes were sharp. Kiri walked beside her, holding Elena's gloved hand. Her small fingers gripped tightly. She was scared, but she trusted one thing in this universe: Elena. Ahead, the doors opened. Inside the main chamber stood 3 figures: a human admiral in gray, an alien ambassador cloaked in black, and Doran, Elena's old friend, now her enemy. He stepped forward first. "Elena, you look tired. I carry the galaxy's last hope in my arms. I think I earned it." Doran's gaze moved to Kiri. "She's a child, not a solution." "She's both," Elena said, "and you know it." The alien ambassador stepped forward. "Show us proof." Elena nodded. She placed the small data drive, the one with Kiri's scan, into the table port. A glowing image of Kiri's DNA spiraled upward. The room fell silent. The ambassador's eyes widened. "It's true," the human admiral whispered. "This could stop the plague and the resource war." Doran's face darkened. "No. If one side controls her, the balance is broken. Peace will never come." He drew his weapon. "Then no. One gets her." Elena moved faster than anyone expected. She pushed Kiri behind the table and fired first. The shot hit Doran's arm. He dropped his weapon, snarling in pain, but others were already rushing in, mercenaries loyal to Doran's cause. Elena grabbed Kiri and ran, dodging blasts, throwing smoke charges, slipping through side doors. Behind them, alarms screamed. "This way!" Elena shouted. They reached the engine hall of the station, tall platforms, cables hanging, steam hissing from broken vents. The mercenaries followed. Elena tossed her last grenade and fired until her rifle went empty. She stood in front of Kiri now. No more cover, no escape. Doran appeared through the smoke. You never knew when to quit. Elena raised her fists. And you never knew when to fight for the right thing. They charged. The fight was brutal. Doran was stronger. Elena was faster. She took hits, hard ones. He slammed her against the wall. She struck back with every bit of fury left in her broken body. But she was slowing down, bleeding, exhausted. Doran raised a blade. And then, Kiri screamed, not in fear, in rage. Her body began to glow, bright golden light pulsing from her chest. The whole station shook, screens flickered, metal warped. Doran staggered back, blinded. Elena turned, stunned. "Kiri?" The little girl floated inches above the ground. Her eyes were wide, glowing white, tears flowing down her cheeks. No, more hurting. The light exploded outward and every weapon in the room short-circuited. Every soldier dropped, every scanner fried. The war stopped for one heartbeat. Kiri fell to the floor. Elena caught her just in time. "It's okay," she whispered. "You did good." Doran crawled to his knees, trembling. What is she?" Elena stood, lifting the girl in her arms. "She's the future." Later, back in the medical bay, Elena lay on the bed. Broken, but breathing. Kiri sat beside her, holding her hand. Doctors moved around them. The cure was already being shared across systems. People were healing. But in this moment, all Elena cared about was this child. Her voice cracked. "Are you okay, Starshine?" Kiri smiled. "I'm not alone anymore." Years passed. The stars no longer whispered of war. They sang of healing, of peace, of a little alien girl who once wept alone in the dust, and of the human woman who picked her up when no one else would. That girl was no longer little, and that woman had become legend. Kiri stood beneath a tall silver monument on the new Allied homeworld. Wind blew softly across the memorial garden, stirring her long dark hair. Her eyes, still glowing faintly, watched the names etched in stone. Among them was one that meant more than all the others. Elena Voss, defender, warrior, mother of peace. Kiri's hand touched the name. "She saved me," she whispered. "And through her, you all were saved." Behind her, a crowd of thousands, humans, aliens, hybrids, stood in silence. No soldiers, no weapons, only memories and hope. Kiri was now a young woman. Her silver-blue skin shimmered under the sun. Her voice carried weight. Her words were studied. And her DNA, shared with dozens of healing centers across the galaxy, had cured entire species. But Kiri didn't live in palaces. She didn't wear crowns. She walked among the people. She sat with the sick. She held the hands of the dying, just like Elena once held hers, because she never forgot where she came from. A weeping child in the dust. That night, under twin moons, Kiri returned to a quiet hill on a peaceful planet. Elena's favorite place. She knelt beside a small stone half hidden by wildflowers. "Hey," she said softly. "I kept my promise." She pulled from her coat something old and worn, Elena's battered armor badge, the same one she wore that first day, in the dust. "I wore this into the Senate chamber. They asked why." She smiled faintly. "I told them, because a real protector doesn't need a throne, just a reason to stand." In her dreams, Kiri sometimes saw the past, the broken checkpoint, the dusty road, the warm water bottle held out by a stranger. But in those dreams, Elena never said goodbye. She only smiled, turned, and said, "Keep going, little star. The world still needs light." The next morning, Kiri stood before a new group of young refugees, some human, some alien, some both, children like she once was. She told them her story, not just about the science, not just about the war, but about kindness, a single moment of it, and how it saved the galaxy. One boy raised his hand. "Is it true she fought off 10 soldiers for you?" Kiri laughed gently. "No, it was 20. The children gasped. "She was strong, wasn't she?" a tiny alien girl asked. Kiri nodded. "The strongest." "But what made her strong?" the girl whispered. Kiri looked to the sky and answered with a smile. She chose to protect someone no one else cared about, and she never stopped. Later, as she walked through the garden alone, a voice called from behind. "Ambassador Kiri?" She turned. A tall, nervous young human stood there holding a package. A gift from the last station Elena used, Found buried in a broken terminal. Kiri opened it slowly. Inside was a holotape. Very old. She played it. Elena's voice came through. Rough, honest, brave. If you're hearing this, it means you made it. Good, I knew you would. I don't know what kind of future you built, but I hope it's kinder than the one we came from. You don't owe me anything, Kiri. Just live. Just love. Just help someone else one day. That's how we win. That's how we remember. Kiri wiped her eyes. She whispered, I will. And so across the stars, stories were told of the weeping girl, of the human warrior, of dust turned into light, and how one act of compassion changed everything.